Captain Taiho Kim stood straight and still as the large doors opened before him. His heart beat fast, but his face showed nothing. Today was the most important day in human history. Today humans would meet the Galactic Council for the first time. "Remember," Taiho said to his crew behind him, "we represent all of Earth now." Science Officer Jiwoo Park nodded. Her small hands gripped her datapad tightly. Next to her, Chief Engineer Hana Lee kept her eyes forward, while Medical Officer Do-hyun Kang shifted nervously from foot to foot. They all wore the blue and silver uniforms of the Earth Space Force, clean and perfectly pressed for this meeting. The room they entered was huge, with high ceilings that seemed to stretch up forever. 7 different alien species sat in a half-circle on raised seats, looking down at the humans. The air smelled strange, like cinnamon and metal. "Welcome, Earthlings," said a tall, thin alien with purple skin that seemed to glow slightly. I am High Commander Nix of the Arxians and leader of this council. We have been watching your planet for many years." Taiho bowed slightly. "Thank you for finally inviting us to join you. We have much to offer the galactic community." A sound like water bubbling came from another council member. This one looked like a large jellyfish floating in a special tank. The translation came through Taiho's earpiece. "That remains to be seen." Nix raised a long-fingered hand. "All species must prove their worth to join our council. We must find what you can offer that we do not already have." Taiho had expected this. Humans were new to space travel compared to these ancient races. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 30 years ago, while some of these species had been crossing the stars for thousands of years. "We understand," Taiho said. "We are ready for any test." A new alien leaned forward, this one covered in short red fur with 4 arms and a head that seemed too large for its body. "Our reports show humans are physically inferior to most spacefaring races. You evolved on a high-gravity world, giving you some strength, but you are slow and limited." Do-hyun, the medical officer, stepped forward slightly, but Taiho gave him a small signal to stay quiet. Now was not the time to argue. "We have many qualities," Taiho said simply. "Some may surprise you." Nix nodded and touched a screen in front of him. A large hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing a human body rotating slowly. "Your species is interesting," Nix said. "You are adaptable. You can live in many environments. But you are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most intelligent among known races. So we must discover what makes humans special." Communications. Specialist Minji Choi, standing slightly behind the others, spoke up. "Perhaps you should test us and find out." Her voice was calm but confident. The council members looked at each other. The jellyfish-like alien bubbled again. "Yes, tests. Standard procedure." "Very well," Nix agreed. "You will undergo our standard evaluation protocol. Physical tests, mental challenges, problem-solving scenarios. We will measure everything, from your strength to your reaction time." At the mention of reaction time, Taiho noticed something interesting. A small look that passed between Nix and the furry red alien, almost like they found the idea funny. They expected humans to fail badly at this. Taiho smiled inside but kept his face serious. Most aliens saw humans as slow. They judged by how fast humans could run or move compared to other species. What they didn't understand was the difference between movement speed and neural reaction time. "We accept all tests," Taiho said. Nix stood up. He was nearly 7 feet tall, thin but somehow strong-looking. "You will be assigned quarters on Nexus Station. Your primary evaluator will be Crix of the Valorians." As if on cue, a side door opened, and a new alien entered. This one took Taiho's breath away. Nearly 7 feet tall, with blue skin that shimmered, like it had tiny diamonds embedded in it. 4 long arms moved with grace that made the alien seem almost like it was flowing rather than walking. Its face had 2 large eyes with no visible pupils, just swirling patterns of darker blue. "This is Crix," Nix said. "The Valorians are known for their speed and reflexes. They hold many records in our physical competitions." Crix moved across the room in seconds, appearing in front of Taiho so quickly it seemed almost like magic. "The boy, Alien bowed, a movement so smooth it looked like water flowing. Captain Kim, Crick said, voice musical and light. I look forward to evaluating your species' capabilities. Something in the way Crick said it made Taiho feel like the alien had already decided humans weren't worth much. He could see the same feeling in his crew's faces. We look forward to surprising you, Taiho replied with a small smile. Crick's mouth, a thin line without lips, curved upward slightly. Few things surprise me, Captain. After more formal words from the council, the humans were led out by Crick's. They walked through long hallways filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange Taiho couldn't even guess how they thought or lived. In their private quarters, a set of rooms with strange furniture that adjusted to human shapes when touched, the crew finally relaxed. A little. They think we're weak, Hana said angrily, sitting on a chair that had reshaped itself to fit her body. They think we're slow, Jiwoo added. Do-hyun, always the calm one, shook his head. They're judging us by their standards. They're comparing our physical movement speed to theirs. Taeho looked out the large window at the stars. But they haven't measured our reaction time separately from our movement time. Minji, who had been quiet until now, smiled. That's where we might have an edge. Human neural pathways are optimized for quick reactions. Our ancestors needed to react instantly to dangers. Exactly. Taiho turned to face his crew. Let them underestimate us for now. Let them think humans are slow and weak. But we aren't, Security Chief Jinho Kwan said from where he stood by the door. Not where it counts. Taiho nodded. The tests begin tomorrow. They'll measure our strength, our speed, our endurance. We won't be the best at those things. But? Jiwoo asked. But when they finally test our reaction time, our brain's speed, not our muscles' speed, that's when we'll show them what humans can really do. As the artificial night cycle began in their quarters, dimming the light slowly, Taiho looked at his small crew, the first humans to represent Earth to the galaxy. They were nervous but ready. The aliens thought humans were slow, primitive, unimpressive. They would soon learn how wrong they were. Outside their window, the massive space station continued its slow spin among the stars, home to 100 alien species. And now for the first time to humans too. Tomorrow the testing would begin. Morning came quickly on Nexus Station. The lights in the human quarters brightened slowly, waking Taiho and his crew from their first night in space among aliens. Today we begin the tests, Taiho said as his crew ate breakfast. The food was made to match Earth food but tasted slightly wrong. Remember, do your best but don't worry if we don't impress them yet. Jiwoo looked up from her bowl. I checked the test schedule. Today is all physical tests, strength, speed, and endurance. The things they think we're bad at, Hana said with a small frown. Do-hyun spread a strange blue jam on what looked like toast. We are bad at those things, compared to them. The Valorians can move their bodies 3 times faster than humans. The Arxians can lift 10 times their weight. We know our limits, Taiho said calmly. But we also know our strengths. Be patient. A musical tone sounded at their door. Crix, their Valorian evaluator, entered with a flowing movement that seemed impossibly smooth. I trust you rested well, Crix said, 4 arms moving in gentle patterns as the alien spoke. We begin in the physical assessment chamber in 30 minutes. The physical assessment chamber was enormous, bigger than any gym on Earth. Different stations were set up for different tests. Aliens of many species worked out, lifted weights, ran on tracks, and performed jumps that seemed to defy gravity. First, basic strength assessment, Crix announced, leading them to a machine with handles. One by one, the humans tested their grip strength. Jinho, their security chief, did the best, but when his results appeared on the screen, several nearby aliens made sounds that the translators converted as laughter. Is that all? Asked a large, rocky-looking alien with glowing cracks across its surface. Crix's face showed no emotion, but there was something like pity in those swirling blue eyes. Humans come from a higher gravity world. We expected more. Next came lifting tests. Again, the humans performed poorly compared to the other species. Even Hana, the strongest woman on the crew, could only lift weights that young aliens handled with ease. Your muscles are different from ours, Do-hyun tried to explain. We have… Yes, Crix cut him off. Every species has excuses. Let's continue. The speed tests were even worse. On the running track with gravity set to Earth normal, Taiho ran as fast as he could. He was a good runner on Earth, but here, aliens passed him as if he were standing still. Crix recorded the results without comment, but other aliens watching shook their heads or made clicking sounds of disappointment. Now endurance, Crix announced. This was where the humans did better. The test was simple. Run at a steady pace until you couldn't continue. Humans were built for endurance. On Earth, ancient humans had hunted by chasing animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. Hana ran for hours, outlasting many aliens. When she finally stopped, sweaty but smiling, even Crix seemed slightly impressed. Your species does have some endurance, the Valorian admitted. But many prey species do. Minji, who had been quiet all day, finally spoke up. We were both predator and prey. That shaped us. Crix seemed to think about this. An interesting point. Still, your test results are disappointing overall. After a short break for lunch, more almost but not quite Earth food, they moved to the agility tests. These tested how well they could move their bodies through obstacle courses, how quickly they could change direction, and how well they could balance. Again, the humans performed poorly compared to most aliens. Jinho did best, moving through the obstacle course with grace, but still finished with a time that made the watching aliens whisper to each other. The humans move like they're underwater, one alien said, loud enough for Taiho to hear. They're so slow, another agreed. How did they ever survive? Taiho kept his face calm, but inside he was getting angry. His crew felt the same. He could see it in their eyes. But they all kept quiet and continued the tests. The final test of the day was called Reaction Movement Combined, a test where they had to hit targets that lit up randomly around them. This measures how quickly you can see a target and move to hit it, Crix explained. Taiho stepped into the testing area. Lights began to flash around him, and he hit them as quickly as he could. When he finished, his score was low. Very low, compared to the alien scores displayed on the big screen. One by one, his crew took the test. All scored poorly. When Jiwoo finished last, Crix shut down the testing area. That concludes today's assessment, the Valorian announced. Tomorrow we will test mental abilities. As they walked back to their quarters, the crew was quiet. They had expected to do poorly in the physical tests, but actually experiencing it, seeing the disappointment and sometimes mockery on alien faces, was harder than they had thought. Back in their private room, Minji suddenly spoke up. Did anyone else notice something about that last test? That we failed completely? Hana said, falling into a chair. No, Minji shook her head. The name of the test, Reaction Movement Combined. They're measuring reaction and movement together. Taiho looked at her sharply. You're right. They're not separating reaction time from movement time. Do-hyun nodded slowly as he understood. That's the key. Humans might move our bodies slower, but our brains react faster. Exactly, Minji said, excitement growing in her voice. In that last test, I was seeing the targets light up, and my brain was sending signals to move almost instantly, but my actual body movements were too slow to get a good score. Jiwoo pulled out her datapad and began typing quickly. I've been reading about the different species. The Valorians are known for their fast bodies, but nobody talks about neural reaction times alone. Because most species with fast bodies also have fast brains, Jinho said. But humans are different, Taiho said, smiling now. We evolved in a dangerous environment where we had to react instantly to threats, even if our bodies couldn't move as fast as the predators around us. Hana looked confused. But how do we prove this? All their tests measure movement and reaction together. Taiho thought for a moment. We need to request a new test, one that measures pure reaction time, just the time between seeing something and the brain sending the first signal to move. Will they allow it? Jiwoo asked. They have to, Taiho said. They claim to be fair. They want to find each species' strengths. We just need to convince them this is worth testing. That night, while the others slept, Taiho sat by the window looking out at the stars. Tomorrow they would do better in the mental tests, he was sure. But it wasn't enough to be seen as smart but weak. Humans needed to show they had something special, something unique to offer. As he watched ships coming and going from the space station, Taiho made his plan. They would complete the mental tests tomorrow, show they were at least average in intelligence. Then they would request the special reaction time test, and then the aliens would learn that humans weren't as slow as they thought, not where it really mattered. The second day of testing went better than the first. The mental test showed that humans were smart, not the smartest in the galaxy, but certainly not stupid. Taiho and his crew solved puzzles, answered questions, and completed memory tasks, with good scores. "You seem pleased," Crick said when they finished the logic test. The Valorian's blue skin shimmered under the lights as all 4 arms recorded data on different screens. "We're happy to show what humans can do," Taiho answered, carefully. "Yes, your species has reasonable intelligence," Crix admitted. "Combined with your endurance, you might find a place in the galactic community, perhaps in long-duration research missions or colony support roles." Taiho heard what Crix wasn't saying. Roles where strength and speed didn't matter. Support roles. Background roles. Not leadership or important positions. "Before we finish today's tests," Taiho said, "I have a request." Crix's swirling blue eyes focused on him. "What request?" "We would like to propose an additional test, one that measures something specific that hasn't been properly tested yet. The testing protocol is standard for all species," Crix said, voice cooling. "We don't change it for newcomers." Jiwoo stepped forward with her datapad. "We're not asking to change the protocol. We're asking to add a test that isolates a specific ability. The council said they want to find what each species can contribute." Crix seemed uncertain. "What test do you propose?" "A pure reaction time test," Taiho said. "One that measures only the time between seeing something and the brain's first response, not including the time it takes to complete a physical movement." The Valorian was silent for a moment. "Why would this matter? The combined reaction movement time is what's important in real situations." "Not always," Do-hyun said. "There are many situations where the speed of the initial decision matters more than physical movement speed." Crick seemed to consider this. "I will need to consult with the council." That evening they received a message. The council had agreed to their request. The next day they would conduct a pure reaction time test in the main assessment arena. Many council members and other species would attend to observe this unusual request. "They're curious," Minji said as they ate dinner. "They think we're desperate to find anything we might be good at." "Let them think that," Taiho replied with a small smile. "Tomorrow will change everything." The main assessment arena was huge with seating for thousands. Many of those seats were filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. The 7 council members sat in a special area above everyone else. Taiho could feel hundreds of eyes watching as his crew entered. High Commander Nix stood. "Captain Kim has requested a special assessment focused on neural reaction time. While unusual, we have decided to allow this test in the spirit of thorough evaluation." Crix stepped forward and explained the test. "Participants will wear this headband that monitors brain activity. When the light on this screen changes from red to green, they must press this button as quickly as possible. The system will measure the time between the light changing and the first neural signal sent to move, not the complete movement itself." A Valorian champion named Vrax went first. Tall and graceful like all Valorians, Vrax moved to the testing station with fluid confidence. The arena went quiet as the test began. 5 trials with random timing between each one. When Vrax finished, the average time appeared on the big screen. 120 milliseconds. The crowd made sounds of approval. That was a good time. One of the best ever recorded, according to the announcer. Next came champions from other species. An Arxian scored 145 milliseconds. A jellyfish like Bulan scored 163. A rocky Granith scored 138. All good scores, all in. A similar range. Then it was the humans' turn. Taiho went first. He sat at the testing station and put on the headband. He took a deep breath and focused on the screen. As soon as he saw green, he pressed the button. 5 trials later, his score appeared. 98 milliseconds. A strange silence fell over the arena. Then a wave of confused noises rose from the crowd. Crix checked the equipment, certain there was a mistake, but there wasn't. One by one, the human crew took the test. Jiwoo, 102 milliseconds. Hana, 110 milliseconds. Doyun, 95 milliseconds. Minji, 101 milliseconds. Jinho, 97 milliseconds. The lowest human score was better than the highest alien score. "This is impossible," Crix said, all 4 arms moving in agitation. "The equipment must be malfunctioning." High Commander Nix ordered new equipment to be brought in. They tested again. The results were the same. They changed the test slightly, using sound instead of light. Again, the humans beat all other species easily. Finally, after 3 different versions of the test, Nix stood up. "It appears humans have an exceptional neural reaction time, faster than any council species we have measured." The arena was filled with disbelieving whispers. How could the slow, weak humans be faster at anything? "Would you explain this ability, Captain Kim?" Nix asked. Taiho nodded to Do-hyun, who stepped forward. The medical officer was nervous but spoke clearly so everyone could hear. "Humans evolved in a unique way," Do-hyun began. "We were both predators and prey at different times. We needed to react instantly to dangers while also making quick decisions about using tools." He showed brain scans on the big screen. "Our visual processing system connects directly to certain motor functions, a neural shortcut that bypasses conscious thought for certain reactions." "So what you're saying," Nix clarified, "is that your brain sends signals faster than your bodies can respond?" "Exactly," Do-hyun nodded. "Our muscles are slower than many species, but the initial command from brain to muscles happens faster." An Arxian council member leaned forward. "But of what use is this if your bodies cannot keep pace?" Taiho stepped forward. "There are many situations where the speed of decision is more important than the speed of movement. Piloting spacecraft, monitoring safety systems, coordinating responses to unexpected events. In a crisis," Jinho added, "the first few milliseconds of reaction can make the difference between life and death." Crix, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "I have seen many species take these tests. I have never seen reaction times like yours." The Valorian's voice contained something new. Respect. Nix looked at the other council members who were talking quietly among themselves. Finally, he turned back to the humans. "This is indeed a remarkable ability," he admitted. "One that could be valuable in many situations. But we need to see it applied in real scenarios, not just in isolated tests." "We would welcome that opportunity," Taiho said confidently. Nix nodded. "Tomorrow you will participate in practical assessments that test this ability in realistic situations. You may return to your quarters to prepare." As they left the arena, aliens moved aside to let them pass, looking at the humans with new eyes, some curious, some disbelieving, some concerned. Back in their quarters, the crew finally let their excitement show. "Did you see their faces?" Hana laughed. "They couldn't believe it." "We still have more to prove tomorrow," Taiho reminded them, but he was smiling too. Minji looked thoughtful. "Now they'll be watching us closely. They'll try to find the limits of our ability." "Let them try," Jinho said. "We've shown them that humans aren't what they thought. That's a good start." Taiho looked out at the stars again. Today, humans had surprised the galaxy. Tomorrow, they would show what that surprise meant, and why humans deserved their place among the stars. "Get some rest," he told his crew. "Tomorrow will be even more important than today." The next morning, Taiho and his crew were called to a special meeting with the full council. The room was smaller than the main council chamber, but still impressive, with walls that seemed to shift colors slowly. All 7 council members sat at a curved table. High Commander Nix was in the center, purple skin glowing slightly in the soft light. Captain Kim, Nix began, yesterday's test results have caused quite a stir. Many find it difficult to believe that humans, who perform so poorly in physical tests, could excel in reaction time. We understand, Tai-Ho said. It surprised us too when we first compared our times with other species. We wish to understand this ability better, said a council member that looked like a large insect with compound eyes. Medical Officer Kang, you started an explanation yesterday. Would you continue? Do-hyun stepped forward looking nervous but determined. Ji-woo handed him a data pad. I prepared a more detailed presentation, Do-hyun said. May I show it on your display? Nix nodded, and the wall behind the council lit up with images. First, let me explain how humans evolved. Do-hyun began. Earth has many dangerous predators. Our early ancestors were not the strongest or fastest creatures, but they survived by being smart and by reacting quickly. The display showed images of ancient humans hunting and being hunted. We were in a unique position, Do-hyun continued. We were both hunters and the hunted. Many species evolve as one or the other, but humans were both at the same time. The jellyfish-like council member bubbled a question. How did this affect your neural development? Good question, Do-hyun said. As prey, we needed to react instantly to threats. As hunters using tools, we needed to make split-second decisions about aiming and throwing. This created strong pressure for fast neural responses. The display changed to show brain scans of different species. Here's where it gets interesting, Do-hyun pointed to the human brain. See these neural pathways? They create a shortcut. When humans see certain things, like a sudden movement or a falling object, the signal goes directly from our eyes to our motor control system, bypassing conscious thought. A reflex, said the insect council member. Yes, but more complex than most reflexes, Do-hyun explained, and more widespread in our nervous system. Many species have reflexes, but humans have developed more of these pathways that allow for extremely fast initial reactions. Crix, who stood to the side, asked, why did your physical speed not develop to match this neural speed? Physical speed requires different adaptations, Do-hyun answered. Faster muscles need more energy, different muscle fiber types, different bone structures. Our evolution prioritized brain development over physical speed. The rocky granite council member made a sound like grinding stones. So your species developed fast thinking but slow bodies? That seems inefficient. Tai-Ho stepped forward. With respect, it was very efficient for our environment. We didn't need to outrun predators if we could detect them first and use tools to defend ourselves from a distance. Tools, Nick said thoughtfully. Your species has always been tool users. Yes, Tai-Ho agreed. Our quick reactions combined with tool use allowed us to survive and thrive. The display changed again, showing more brain scans. This is the key difference, Do-hyun pointed. When most species see a threat, the signal goes from their eyes to their brain, where they process what they're seeing, make a decision, and then send a signal to their muscles. Humans do this too, but we also have these direct pathways that can start the muscle response before we're even conscious of what we're seeing. So you're saying humans react before they're aware they're reacting? Asked a feathered council member. Sometimes, yes. Do-hyun nodded. Have you ever caught something that was falling before you realized it was falling? That's this system working. Several council members looked at each other with new understanding. Let me demonstrate, Do-hyun said. He took a small ball from his pocket and suddenly tossed it to Crix without warning. The Valorian caught it smoothly with one hand, but not until after it had already started to fall. Now try again, but this time I'll give you a signal before I throw, Do-hyun said. He held up a finger, then tossed the ball. This time, Crix caught it perfectly. Now watch, Do-hyun said. Without warning, he tossed another ball to Minji. She caught it instantly, almost as if she knew it was coming. I didn't tell her I was going to throw it, Do-hyun explained. But her brain detected the start of my throwing motion and began reacting before I'd even released the ball. The council chamber was quiet as they all thought about what this meant. Believe I understand now, Nick said slowly. Your neural system is optimized for initial response, not sustained speed. This would be valuable in many situations. Exactly, Taiho said. In emergency situations, in complex control systems, in delicate coordination tasks, those few milliseconds of advantage can make a critical difference. But how would this translate to practical use in the galactic community? Asked the insect. Council member, may I answer that? Jiwoo asked. When Nix nodded, she stepped forward. We've already seen applications in our own space program. Human pilots can respond to unexpected situations faster than our computer systems. Our reaction time has saved ships from collisions, prevented accidents in delicate docking procedures, and allowed us to navigate dangerous regions like asteroid fields. This is true, Nix admitted. Our records show that human ships have an impressive safety record despite your relatively new space technology. And there's more, Jiwoo continued. The same neural speed that helps us react quickly also helps us learn physical tasks faster. We may not perform them as well as species with more optimized bodies, but we can adapt to new physical challenges quickly. The feathered council member leaned forward. So you're suggesting humans might serve as emergency responders, pilots, safety monitors? Those roles, yes, Taiho agreed, but also as part of mixed teams where our quick initial reactions complement the physical abilities of other species. Interesting, Nix said. In my 1,000 years, I have never seen a species with such a specific adaptation. It is unique. There's one more thing, Do-hyun added. This same neural system that gives us quick reactions also helps us with something else. Creativity. The ability to make quick mental connections between different ideas. How so? Asked the Jellyfish Council member. The same pathways that let us react quickly to physical threats also let us react quickly to mental challenges, Do-hyun explained. We can jump between ideas, see connections, and imagine new possibilities very quickly. Nick seemed impressed. That would explain the unusual variety in human art and technology that we've observed. We believe humans can offer both of these abilities to the galactic community, Taiho said. Our quick reactions and our creative thinking. This requires more study, the Insect Council member said. But it is promising. Nix nodded. Tomorrow, we will see how this ability functions in realistic scenarios. We have prepared several tests that will challenge your reaction time in practical situations. As they left the council chamber, Taiho felt hopeful. The aliens were starting to understand what humans could offer. That went well, Jiwoo said quietly as they walked back to their quarters. Better than I expected, Taiho agreed. They're actually listening now. Tomorrow will be the real test, Jinho reminded them. Showing is always more convincing than telling. Back in their quarters, the crew prepared for tomorrow's challenges. They didn't know exactly what tests the council had planned, but they knew one thing. They would finally get to show what humans could really do when facing a crisis. Get ready, Taiho told his crew. Tomorrow we prove that humanity deserves its place among the stars. The final day of testing came. Taiho and his crew entered a large room they hadn't seen before. It looked like a control center with screens on all walls and many stations with complex controls. Welcome to the crisis simulator, Crick said. The Valorian's tone was different today, more respectful. This facility tests how species respond to emergency situations. High Commander Nix and the other council members watched from an observation area above. Many other aliens had also come to watch. Today you will face 3 challenges, Crix explained. Each will test your reaction time in practical situations. You will compete against teams from other species. The first challenge was called System Failure Response. Each team had to monitor a complex system and respond to failures as they happened. The faster they responded, the fewer problems spread through the system. The human team took their positions at the control panels. Jiwoo and Hana worked together, watching the main screens carefully. Begin, Crix announced. At first, nothing happened. Then a small light turned red on one screen. Jiwoo's hand moved instantly, fixing the problem before it could grow. Another warning appeared, then another. Soon warnings were flashing all over the screens, but the humans responded with amazing speed. When the test ended, The scores appeared. The human team had caught problems an average of 1.2 seconds after they appeared. The next best team, a group of Arxians, averaged 1.8 seconds. The difference seemed small, but in a complex system, those fractions of a second prevented many bigger problems. Impressive, Nick said from the observation area. But let's see how they handle the next challenge. The second test was called Pilot Response Scenario. Each team member had to fly a simulated spacecraft through a dangerous asteroid field while dealing with random system failures. Taiho took the pilot's seat for this challenge. The simulation began, and a realistic view of space appeared on the screens around him. His hands moved quickly over the controls as asteroids appeared. Sometimes the controls would suddenly change, simulating system failures, and he had to adapt instantly. Jinho, handling the emergency systems, worked just as fast. When warning lights flashed, his hands moved almost before the warnings appeared, as if he knew they were coming. When this test ended, the human team had again outperformed all others. Their spacecraft had taken minor damage while most other teams had experienced major damages or complete destruction. They're not just fast, the Insect Council member noted. They anticipate problems. That's part of our reaction system, Do-hyun explained. We don't just react to what happens. Our brains are constantly predicting what might happen next. The final challenge was the hardest. Multi-crisis management. In this test, the team had to handle multiple emergencies at once. A fire in one part of a space station, a medical emergency in another, failing life support systems, and an incoming spacecraft that needed emergency landing guidance. All 6 humans worked together now. Taiho coordinated, sending each person where they were needed most. The others moved between different control stations, handling problems as they appeared. The key moment came when 3 major crises hit at once. Jinho was handling the fire when life support began to fail. Without hesitation, Minji jumped to those controls while Jiwoo guided the incoming ship. They communicated with short, quick words, making decisions in split seconds. When the final test ended, the human team had successfully managed all crises with minimal damage and no simulated loss of life. No other team had managed this. All had lost at least some simulated lives or had let major systems fail completely. The observation room was completely silent when the final scores appeared. Then slowly the council members began to talk among themselves. After a few minutes, Nick stood up. "Captain Kim, please bring your team to the main council chamber in 1 hour," the High Commander said. "We have much to discuss." Back in their quarters, the crew was tired but excited. "We showed them," Hana said, smiling widely. "We really showed them what humans can do. Did you see their faces?" Jinho laughed. "They couldn't believe how fast we handled those multiple crises." "It's not just our reaction time," Jiwoo said thoughtfully. "It's how we use it, working together, communicating quickly, adapting to new situations." "That's the human advantage," Taiho agreed. "Not just reacting fast, but using that speed in creative ways." An hour later, they stood before the full council in the main chamber. Many other aliens filled the viewing areas, watching with interest. The mood was very different from their first meeting. There was respect in the air now and curiosity. High Commander Nick stood, his purple skin glowing more brightly than before. "Captain Kim and crew of the Earthship Prometheus," he began formally. "We have evaluated your species' capabilities over these past days. Our initial assessment was incomplete." Taiho bowed slightly, but said nothing. "Your species possesses an ability we have not seen before," Nix continued. "Your neural reaction time combined with your adaptive thinking and teamwork represents a unique evolutionary path." The Jellyfish Council member bubbled. "In crisis situations, your response time could save many lives. This is a valuable trait, and your creative applications of this ability are impressive," added the Feathered Council member. "You don't just react, you anticipate and adapt." Nix raised his hand for silence. "The Council has voted. We formally invite Earth to begin the membership process in the Galactic Council. Your unique abilities would be welcome additions to our community." Taiho felt a wave of pride and relief. This was what they had hoped for. recognition that humans had something valuable to offer. We accept with gratitude, Taiho said, bowing deeply this time. Earth will be honored to join the galactic community. There is much work ahead, Nix warned. Treaties, cultural exchanges, technological sharing, these things take time, but today marks the beginning of humanity's official place among the stars. After the formal meeting ended, Crix approached Taiho as the human crew prepared to return to their ship. The Valorian moved with the same fluid grace as always, but there was a new respect in those swirling blue eyes. "I must apologize, Captain Kim," Crix said. "I judged your species too quickly. I measured you by standards that didn't show your true abilities." "It's a natural mistake," Taiho said kindly. "We all tend to judge others by what we value in ourselves." "A wise observation," Crix admitted. "I value physical speed because my species evolved to prize it above all else. I didn't consider that neural speed could be just as valuable in different ways." "That's why the galaxy needs diversity," Taiho said. "Different species bring different strengths." Crix nodded. "I hope we will work together in the future. I believe I could learn much from humans, and we from Valorians," Taiho replied with a smile. As the human crew boarded their ship to return to Earth with the good news, Taiho took one last look at the massive space station. Soon, there would be many more humans here. Diplomats, scientists, workers and explorers. Humanity had proven its worth and earned its place. "Ready to go home, Captain?" Jiwoo asked, preparing the ship's systems. "Ready," Taiho said, settling into his command chair. "Let's tell Earth that the stars are now open to us." The Prometheus moved away from Nexus Station, its engines glowing blue against the blackness of space. Inside, 6 humans smiled, knowing they had changed humanity's future forever, all because aliens had learned not to judge humans by their own standards and to value the unique gifts each species brings to the galaxy. The end.